Hello everyone, today we will show you Alice in Borderland, Episode 1. Let's get started with the video. The episode began with the introduction of the first character of the show, Rei Arisu, an ardent gamer who is attempting to complete a video game assignment in his room. Soon after he is introduced, his brother storms into the room, chastising him for missing a job interview that he and their father worked hard to get him. Arisu rose up and left the house in annoyance after he was warned not to be a freeloader at home. While stepping out of his residence, Arisu texts his friends Karube and Chota. Karube is having an affair with a lady in a tavern at the same time. When a man known as the pub's boss entered, they divided and parted ways. When the pub's owner discovers that Karube has been hitting on his girl, he throws a punch at him and fights for the love of his life. Meanwhile, the scene cuts to an interesting man and our new character, dressed in business clothes, who is introduced as Chota. He is passing money to his mother, who appears to be in severe need of funds for a purpose to save humanity. Despite his reluctance, he delivers the money to his mother in the hopes that it will be the last time. However, the three, dissatisfied with their current condition, plan to meet at Shibuya Station. Arisu, who is dissatisfied with his current condition, desires he could live on another planet. Chota smirks and toys with the thought of introducing zombies into the picture. Karube believes that Arisu will be the only survivor if that happens. Arisu was perplexed, and the conversation ended in silence. Breaking the stillness, they begin fooling around happily in the middle of the busy road, but soon their bubble of happiness is to be popped as the reality sets in. While they're amusing themselves, the traffic signal has turned red, and their actions have impeded traffic, resulting in an accident. When they see policemen exiting the subway station, the trio flees to the nearest toilet in the underground station. While they're doing so, a firework explodes in the sky. A loud thud on their cubicle door can be heard as they recover from the pleasure, before they find themselves in pitch-black darkness. When the group ventures out, they were surprised to find themselves alone, in stark contrast to the crowded scene just moments before. Karube and Chota return to their job, perplexed, but found no one. The scene shifts to the middle of the night, where the three of them are debating their current predicament. Chota and Arisu are delighted now because they have more freedom than before, but Karuke chastised them for having such thoughts. That is when a major plot twist enters the show and the edifice in front of them suddenly lit up with the words "Welcome, players." The game will begin in a moment. Intrigued and perplexed, the party follows the instructions and arrives at the GM building, a game center. They enter the game area and each take one phone as instructed. The phone performed facial recognition and recorded the number of players who took part in the game. Shibuki, another important character of the show, appears in the scenario where she informs them that once you join the game, there is no way out because doing so will result in death by a laser. They have no choice but to play the game with the final participant, a college student. As more suspense is built in the story, suddenly the game rules appear on the phone, along with the image of a card with the number 3 of clubs. The goal of the game is to exit the building within the time limit by selecting either the die or live door. They are given a time limit for each room and must choose which door to enter. Shibuki, on the other hand, is urging Arisu and his buddies to choose the live door rather than the die door. Chota, instead of worrying for his life, enjoys the heated debate that their life depends upon and begins making a video. With little time remaining, the room begins to burn, with smoke rising from the floor. After realizing that they will perish if they do not flee, the gang gets stressed and nervous. In desperation, the college student chooses the live door and dies instantaneously after being shot by a laser. Shibuki dashes through the die door, followed closely by Karube. This entire scene of a massacre leaves Chota frozen in disbelief. However, Arisu comes to the rescue and drags the frozen Chota out of the chamber just in time before it explodes in flames. They're given a new set of time in the new chamber, with a shorter period and the same 2 doors to pick from. At that point, our trios are disturbed and stunned by the reality that someone is dying right in front of their eyes. Now, things get even more serious than before. As the clock ticks away, Arisu and Kurobe's stress and anxiety grow, while Shibuki simply adds fuel to the fire by speculating that this could be a sacrifice game. While Chota vomits up his anxiety as he is visibly scared for his life, Arisu, Karube, and Shibuki begin to quarrel and dispute who should open the door next. The time is almost up. The chamber begins to smoke, and our heroes become increasingly agitated as they struggle to pick which door to open. Arisu musters the courage to open the die door at that precise moment, but is unable to do so. Shibuki laughs and says that given his actions, he would have sacrificed the girl as well. Karube snaps at Shibuki and, after some reluctance, opens the live door, claiming that they will each take a turn, and Shibuki will be next. That door turns out to be the correct one, and they find themselves in another room with the identical setup, but for an even shorter period of time. A pattern that increases their anxiety and deeply affects their ability to rationally decide. Karube shoves Shibuki, who is shivering in dread, to open the next door. When he realizes he can't receive any promising help from Shibuki, he turns to Arisu for help and begs him to think of something because he is quite experienced in puzzle games and this is no less than a puzzle. But Arisu rotates the tables and explains to his desperate friend that this is a game of chance rather than strategy and the probability of them dying is 50-50 either way. Karube, on the other hand, persists and pushes Arisu to consider any hints that they may have overlooked, beginning with their entry into the building. The suspense is palpable, with only 1 minute remaining. As Arisu appears to be delusory, Karube becomes more enraged by the negative response he has been getting from Arisu and punches him in the face. That punch gives Arisu an iconic eureka moment, and all of a sudden, he knows which door to choose. This is perhaps where the excitement begins, as our main character begins to use his deduction talents to escape. He compares the size of the structure to that of a BMW vehicle using an evacuation map to determine its size. From there, he begins to perform the math. Each room is around 6 meters long, thus there can only be 9 rooms, and he chooses the door based on the direction that they face. They proceed from room to room undamaged thanks to Arisu's deduction until they reach the final room. Arisu panics and realizes there's no room facing the exit where he imagined there should be. He mutters to himself, realizing that he may have overlooked a crucial aspect. Re-examining the video Chota recorded at the start of the game, hence proving the fact that Chota isn't so useless after all, Arisu discovers that there is one smaller chamber between the room where the college girl died and the exit. They successfully exited, but Chota suffers a leg injury in the process. Their phone blinks and a message appears stating that they have successfully obtained a 3-day visa. A 3-club poker card is also seen on a table. Near the exit of the game arena, a man with hopeless eyes says that today is the last day of his visa and there is no way out even after playing countless games. A laser blasted from the sky fried his brain, killing him instantly. The group then learns that this is what would happen if their 3-day visa expires. The young players understand, with dread, that they need to play to survive because their visas connect to the period of time they are allowed to stay alive. The episode concludes with a new female character's image.